Hey there, hey, it's Michelle with Brilliant Quest. And today, this is a continuation of a motivation series that I've been doing. And the first one, I talked about my 6-part method for how to do things when you're not motivated, how to still get them done. And so today, I'm going to be talking to you about how to turn challenges and obstacles into opportunities. All right. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you some of the areas that we're going to be covering that will help you to do this. And then we're going to go into them like I normally do. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit today about a psychologist that's part of the Trinity, but he doesn't get as much love as the other two. We're going to be talking about rejection. We're going to be talking about individualism. And we're going to be talking about how to spot opportunity. All right, so stick with me. All right, so first and foremost, let me set this up. Back at the turn of the century between the 1800s and the 1900s, 3 Austrian physicians would go on to change the world. And you know them, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, but then there's another one, Alfred Adler. And we are now in this age where Adlerian psychology, because they were all physicians turned psychologists, Adlerian psychology is helping us to get a lot of breakthroughs. And it's actually called individualistic psychology. Yeah. And just so you know, Freud and Adler were around the same age. They both had strong personalities. And Adler was like, dude, everything isn't about your childhood and sex. And so Adler was like, I don't care what happened to you as a child. In today, right now, you have the power to change any and everything. So whereas psychoanalysis was about figuring out the root causes of what happened to you in your formative years as to why you act a fool today, Adler was like, forgetting those things. We're going to reset and start today because you are an individual with power. Now, meanwhile, Jung, who looked at Freud as a mentor and a father figure, he was starting to break away too. And the reason why we have archetypes, we have dreams, we have understanding the animus and the anima of life. You probably know animus is called, it's where damsel in distress, the hero comes and saves you. But this is not about understanding all the different ones. You can go Google them. I want you to understand how you've been using Adlerian psychology and how to fine tune it to help yourself to be able to turn those obstacles into opportunities. All right. So because of Adler, he went on and he was able to help us to reestablish some things. Now, yes, we still use a lot of Freud. I mean, come on, let's face it. You're going to be Jungian, Freudian, and Adlerian at different parts of your life, or even simultaneously. You might not be able to pinpoint it and call it out, in consciousness, but you're using them and they're helping us. So with the most powerful thing that Adler helped us with was, he was like, you are an individual, but you are dependent on society. And I'm bringing that out right now because we have now gotten to an age where it used to be, if you lived in a Western society, outside of the US, if you lived in a Western society, you still had community. Case in point, when European immigrants and Asian and others would come to the US, they weren't forced here. When they would come to the US, they would have little parts of wherever they lived, and they would call them town, German town, China town. And it was because they came here for the promise of individual glory and success that wasn't dependent on your birth order, name, or governmental structure, but they also kept community. Well, fast forward 100 years, and now we worship at the throne of individuality. Let me ask you to just do this really quick as an illustration, if you will. When people used to perform in front of people, they would perform in what were called amphitheaters. Historically, there are relics back in Greco-Roman times of amphitheaters. And if you know what an amphitheater is, it's where the stage is below and then everyone rises up above there. And it was made so that everybody had a good seat, and the acoustics were that the people at the top and the highest could hear just, fairly well as the ones right there. And then it moved into theater houses where it wasn't the in total round, but the theater was that you had the stage and then people, of course, continue to rise up. Stick with me. I have a point here. It wasn't until we started having more of the individualized ability through our societal norms, through politics and all of it, where it changed. And I'm pretty sure that this was happening before here, but for sake of illustration, think of Woodstock. Whether you think about the black one or the white one, think about Woodstock. You had a sea of people assembled to watch someone on stage. And because it was more about coming to see these groups, the stage was elevated. And the people were all on one level on the ground outside looking up. And it was a visual of the switch from community where the performers were down below servicing you through entertainment to a switch where now the entertainers are up high and you look at them almost as if in worship of the individual. And you might be like, oh, Michelle, that's crazy. It might be, but it does help to understand how we have made this shift to where each person is all about that individualistic drive for purpose, for success. And yes, Adler did talk about the individual, but he always couched it in understanding the individual as part of community. Now, he said that individuals come here. Everybody has a sense of inferiority. And that's where we get the term inferiority complex from. To combat that, he says everyone works on a superiority. And it's not to compete against others. It's to disprove the drive of feeling like an imposter within ourselves, that we even embark on self-improvement, personal growth, of education, of all of the things that we desire about ourselves, to have good reputation, good character, to be well-versed, to be well thought of and revered, those things. And then he also said, but it's couched in community, where we have a need to be part of community. Okay. Now, I've said this and told you all about Adler and all of this stuff to set it up for now. How do you turn obstacles? How do you turn challenges into opportunities and into success? Well, first and foremost, you understand that you cannot go it alone. As an author, one of the things that I was not ready for when I first started publishing books on Kindle and, self-publishing, I was not ready for the impact of rejection. I was not ready for people to be so flippantly mean-spirited and pile on when I first started putting books out. And it was like, there were some people that even admitted in the reviews, I didn't read this, but it looks like trash. Really? You didn't even read it and you took time out? Let it go, Michelle, let it go. But anyway, when I went through that rejection, it was enough to make me want to quit, but I didn't. And do you know why I didn't? Well, first and foremost, I was in a state where I needed to do something because I needed to bring in extra income. And I knew that you just suffer through it and you'll get better. But I had a strong, and still to this day, I had a strong community who kept urging me and saying, you know what, just a little bit each day, just get better a little bit each day. And then it won't be, and now one of my pen names is a USA Today bestseller. I can write and people are like, oh, give us more. But if I had only been by myself, believing that I had to be the one on the stage where everybody looks up and worships, if I was so individualistically driven to do everything on my own, it would have been an insurmountable challenge. And so rejection, unlike what I thought it was, I did all of the things like, oh, it's just going to make you stronger. Oh, just look and pick out the good stuff that they said. Cause some, rejection has truth to it, figure this out. And I did all of that. Get tough skin. I did all of that. But the thing that I didn't realize until much later was that rejection is part of the friction that you get that causes you to understand the need for community, the need for friends and family, and the need for feeling feeling like you belong. Think about the last time you got rejected, whether it was through a relationship, or you didn't get what you thought you were going to get, or you didn't get a job, or whatever it was, or a promotion. What was the first thing instinctively you wanted or you did? You found friends, you found family, you probably simply went to a parent because you were looking for consolation. And that comes through community. And so one of the points that I want to make right now is to stay motivated when you keep coming up against failure, against obstacles, against challenges. Is rejection is par for the course. And it is a reminder to make sure that you're not going it alone. That yes, you can have individualized dreams and pursuits, but it's never self-made, no matter how much it might look like it. There's always going to be someone cheerleading, holding the cake, baking the cake, and holding the pom-poms for you in the background, urging you to go on. When you don't do that, that's when it becomes insurmountable. The next thing is the unexpected can cause you to win or lose. I've talked about dealing with the unexpected and high risk and all of these things and randomness, especially talking about luck. But in this life, you will have troubles, and troubles will come in by way of the unexpected. And the unexpected, also like rejection, has a purpose. The unexpected is to teach you and make sure your pivot game is strong, and as well to make you understand who you are in any given situation, because you are not going to be able to come up and defeat every obstacle at first blush. And so I think it's a disservice for a lot of people who get the win early or on the first try, because it makes it harder for when you don't get the win. And you see, the unexpected is difficulty that doesn't make sense. And it is hard to stay motivated when you've done a lot. In the part one of this motivation series, I talk about a 6-point method that I use for when I don't feel motivated, but I still need to get stuff done. And if you haven't watched it, go check it out. But the unexpected is something that will ring your bell. What happens when you use the method and the unexpected comes? And that's why I'm wanting to deal with it in this part, because I didn't want to, put all that stuff in that part, because it's a training, it's longer, but I wanted to make sure that I gave that method to you and knowing that we would deal with it here. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the unexpected. Okay. And the unexpected is part of when you are doing something, life will make you either overcome what it's giving or succumb to it. My grandmother used to have this saying about life. She says, life will either hurt you or help you, because in the middle of life is a big old if. And what she meant by that was, if you just lay down and take what life gives you, you're going to get what it gives you. But if you're willing to live life, there's still a big old if in there, but you must live it in a way that you are willing to take whatever it gives you and find a way to make the difficulty turn into a difference for you, turn into something powerful for you. And so the unexpected, like I said, like rejection, the unexpected is something that you want, because it's only going to make you stronger if you understand its purpose and you understand that it is there. Nobody gets out of having to deal with the unexpected. Nobody gets out of things that just out the random came to try you and test you. Nobody, everybody goes through this. And you want to understand that if I overcome this, look for the difficulty and figure out the way to overcome it. The next one I want to say that is in line with unexpected is the persistent problem. The persistent problem is one of the greatest teachers, because it is a beacon on deficiencies. It is a beacon on things that must be shored of or advanced so that you can get to the next level. You see, persistent problems are part of the shadow of you that you can't see, that the universe, in its graceful way of helping us to be better every day in every way, it keeps coming. So if you have persistent problems where you don't have good discernment of character, and so you keep interacting with the wrong people, ding, 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 that's a problem that must be addressed, because it's a deficiency in some area that you need to shore up, you need to become proficient in. It is an area that you need to advance because it is a minimum requirement for where you're trying to go next. It is an area that will keep you under the weight, under the pain of the challenge and of the obstacle if you don't get past it. And so when you see this, you kind of like need to pause and say, thank you. Thank you. Because that is the obstacle. Ryan Holiday has a book called Obstacle is the Way. It's a Stoic book that looks at the writings of the Stoics. I think this one particularly talks about Marcus Aurelius. And when you're looking at Stoicism, that to me is one of the disciplines that encompasses how to turn the difficult into the success. And you would do yourself a real service to, even if all you do is go to Wikipedia and look up the Stoics, and maybe even a little sophism, sophistry of how the elders of the great philosophers looked at difficulty. It'll fare you well. You can't go wrong with it. All right. Because persistent problems are not there to beat you down. They are there to say, come on, finish this, make this, get past this obstacle, because this is kind of like the final boss. If you can solve this problem, if you can fulfill and satisfy the requirements of this problem, it's almost like a guarantee that you are going to get a reward. You're going to advance. You're going to move forward. I talked about completion and moving forward and having progress. Persistent problems are a wink, wink from the universe that, yeah, do this one and it's going to help you. So let me recap real quick. Of how you're going to turn obstacles and challenges into opportunities is you're going to use rejection to make sure that you get what you need and not try to go it alone, not try to be a lone wolf. Use the power of your support group. You're going to use the unexpected so that you can shore up. How do you adapt and adjust on the fly? How do you become more well-rounded with what you're able to handle, deal with, and progress through? And then you're going to look at persistent problems as insights from the great all of areas that need to be shored up because there might be a deficiency in you, or there might be the level that you operate on this is not the level required to where you need to go next or where you want to go next. All right. And then the last part that I want to talk about when dealing with this is how to have an eye to spot opportunity. Once you get into this arena, if you will, with difficulty, with obstacle, with challenge, one of the things, if you're successfully starting to move through it and grow from it, one of the things you're going to notice is your perspective and your perception changes. Okay, perception is how you think about something. Perspective is the angle by which you see something. People who are good at spotting opportunities are going to have these two powers coupled with reframing, coupled with understanding their timing and understanding that they're going to persevere, they're going to press on. Because, and you've probably already heard this part about that challenge or obstacle. That's what it is. An obstacle is just an opportunity dressed up in work clothes, right? And there's a lot of truth to that, but it also means that you had to first be able to decipher that this was an obstacle in work clothes instead of something to just do you dirty. And people who become really good at spotting opportunities, they run toward difficulty. They run toward the obstacle. They are phenomenal problem solvers. You will do well to understand how to become a problem-solving pro. I've done a video on that. Check it out here. And in that particular video, I talk about how to classify what type of problem you're dealing with. Opportunists are going to be people who are really good at solving complex problems, complicated problems, and even chaotic problems that are in the realm of the unknown. Opportunists are going to be people that are pros at handling rejection. For them, rejection is a no that means next. They just keep going on. They are the person that, okay, that's just one other way of how not to do this. Next. And they keep going. Now, in yourself, that feels crappy. When you're trying to do something, it feels horrible because another thing that you don't really think of when you're thinking about how to take difficulty and challenge and obstacles and turn them into opportunities, you don't think about the naysayers. You don't think about the public ridicule and scorn that comes. People love to cheer on a hero, but they don't love to cheer on somebody they call a loser. And losers can definitely win. I have a video on that, how losers turn into winning. I'll put it up there as well. But what I want you to understand for yourself is don't count yourself out because the commentary that you're receiving is maybe a blow by blow of what's currently happening. You have to supersede that with a narrative of your story that is a success story. There have been many times, even relatives and friends that were like, why are you doing this? It makes no sense. You're not good at it or something like that. And because I determined to have diligence, consistency, tenacity, and perseverance, maybe it's the Capricorn in me, I don't know. I was able to turn these things that were challenges and failures into something that worked. And I'm going to just say, if you are feeling this way, look at all of the snares and the arrows that you've been taking and understand that they are not there to tell you to stop. They are just indicators to tell you to keep going because you must be doing something right. Because I'm telling you, you don't get mouth flap if you're not doing something. You don't get mouth flap from people if you're part of the crowd, part of the public. And I've done a video about how not to be part of the public. But anyway, what you want to do is you want to take that as encouragement because that's what it is. Because turning difficulty into opportunity is a process. It is a painful process. It is a process that maybe the naysayers are because they don't want you to go through the pain because it's too hard for them to see you go through the pain. But the pain a lot of times will be forgotten once you have successfully persevered until the end, until doing what you need to. So the last part I want to say about this, and why you need to understand how to turn difficulties into opportunities, is because they are the seeds by which, well, all motivation is internal, by which motivation becomes a powerhouse in you. You will become a um, a worthy opponent for the things that try men's and women's souls, because of how much motivation you can generate and continuously fuel to get where you need to be. When you start to be able to handle rejection, when you start to understand the individualistic part of what you're doing, but that you also need the social component, when you understand that you do not go it alone, even if you feel like it, there's somebody that's going to cheerlead for you. When you realize that the unexpected is simply because you were on the road doing something, you were being productive, and when you understand that persistent problems don't mean you suck, they mean, here's a hint, fix this so that you can go forward. There's nothing you can't do, because motivation is an internal drive that you must be able to produce for yourself. If Yes, you can have external inspiration, you can see someone and get inspired by them, but what happens when you can't see them? When you go through looking for difficulties to problem solve them, to turn them into opportunities, you become a rare jewel that lives in rarefied air. You don't need a lot of external validation to do something. And I'm going to end this, but before I end this, I just want to pose this to you, because I feel like I'm possibly talking to someone. If you are a person who, when you do something, you quote unquote call it accountability, but you're constantly posting stuff. Okay, this was this day, and I did this. And it's not about the posting because you're posting, it's about the posting so that you can get people to cheer you on. That might be an area in the persistent problem. It is okay to post. It is okay to show people progress, because people love that, because you can inspire folk. But when you can't keep going because you don't get the likes, you don't get the comments, you don't get the shares, you don't get the feedback, that is an indicative of low motivation. And motivation is internal. And that falls into what? The rejection area. How do you handle rejection? How do you keep going when no one is pom-pomming and baking the cake for you? You got to do it, even when you're screaming into the void. And I'm going to tell you, I wish I could tell you how to make it not feel bad. It will. It sucks when you put your effort in and you're being authentic and nobody is listening, nobody is looking, nobody cares, or so you think. You are to know that, yes, you might feel an individual, you might feel alone, but there's somebody in your background, somebody who is going to be like, I see you. It's all good. Keep going. You got this. And then keep it going. If you have nobody, you say, Michelle, I just really don't have anybody. Guess what? You can always make a persona for yourself and you can cheer yourself on. Be like, you did that. I do that all the time. I'm like, you did that. I even have a ritual in the mornings when I get up where I spend time looking myself in the mirror, shoring myself up and letting that child part of me know that you're good. I got you. I'm taking care of you. Let's go get this world. Those types of things. So I just need you to understand that you are much more than you can ever imagine. I want you to keep going. I want you to start looking for difficulties to solve them. The more you solve, the better you get. Now, yes, the difficulties will become bigger and bigger, but in a year's time, you'll look back and things that used to stump you and just stop you in your tracks, they'll be like just common, like every day, like, okay, whatever. And then you'll just continue to go from there and there. But start here, start now. Start doing it. And you will become a person who can see opportunity when other people only see failure. Oh my God, your perception, your perspective will be stellar. And people are like, how did you come up with that? And I'll close this with just saying this. Once you start learning how to turn difficulties, obstacles, and challenges into opportunities, you will become known as clever, cunning, intelligent, innovative, ingenious, smart. Those are the adjectives that people will start throwing your way. Because when you are motivated to make the difficult an opportunity and successful, those are the attributes that you grow. And so those people aren't lying. Those people are just pronouncing on you the components that it takes to do what you do. So run, attach yourself to the fact that you are motivated to win no matter the cause, and then learn from it. Don't get waylaid by rejection. Don't get flustered when the unexpected happens. Don't think you're a loser because you still have the same problems hitting you. Take all of them in stride, be motivated, and get her done. All right, so I want you to watch the next one, this next video to round out the motivation series that we're doing. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Don't forget to put in the comments what is going on with you and how you're working through this, because it is time for us to be the individuals we are with having that societal push. And if nobody else is rooting for you, know that I'm rooting for you. This is Michelle, your big sis with Brilliant Quest. Have a great one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.